I'm Jody Crilly with Live Music Addict, and this is Krista Albert for the Festival of Eugene.
Hello. Hello.
And we are happy to be here with our host, Lloyd Harrell, with Unsigned Revolution this evening.
Hello, hello. How you guys doing? We got lots to talk about today. This is the premiere show of Live Music Addict on our station, and you do the Festival of Eugene, and this is Jody. Yeah, everybody. Awesome.
Hello, everybody.
So, Krista, let's start with giving everybody out in the Unsigned Revolution audience the background on who you are and how the Festival of Eugene came about.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, my name is Krista Albert. I'm the producer for the Festival of Eugene. This is our second year event. And this year we're looking to shake it up a little bit, do something a little bit different from last year. But for those of you folks who don't know about the Festival of Eugene, we are a local festival put on here in Eugene by local people looking to celebrate the talents of local artists, both musicians and any other kind of talent. So that's kind of what the Festival of Eugene is in a nutshell.
And so how did you come about, Krista, deciding to found the Festival of Eugene? It was last year was the first year, correct?
Correct. That was our first year, and it was completely by default. I had a festival, or a portion of the Eugene celebration, which was the Eugene Health and Wellness celebration. And once that event was canceled, basically my vendors said, hey, let's put on something instead. So my intent was to put on just a health and wellness fair, and very quickly it ballooned into something quite larger.
And I believe that was due to people like myself and several people who had found that they were unable to attend our other celebration just due to the cost of it. And it was effectively kind of excommunicating many of our community members from being able to attend. And now the festival, the Eugene celebration, is typically in August every year. And when did you start trying to put this Festival of Eugene together?
This year, you mean?
Last year?
Last year, oh my gosh, we had 6 weeks.
That is phenomenal.
We had 6 weeks to put on a large scale event, and fortunately it turned out incredible. We had a lot of obstacles, we'll call it obstacles, from
like the footprint,
where the event was going to happen. We had a lot of changes that happened, and they happened in really fast, and it was a lot of turmoil, but in the end we pulled it out in about 4 days.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And where did it end up happening?
We ended up having it at Skinner Butte Park West, next to Water Play, which turned out to be the place that it should have always been.
I agree, because Eugene Skinner, is it he who our town is named after?
I'm ashamed to say I don't know that.
I've been here for 10 years. I don't know that either.
I believe.
So is it going to be the same place as last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be the same location, except for this year we are having 4 stages instead of 2.
Nice.
And we're going to make the footprint a little bit bigger, and we're going to have 2 beer gardens instead of 1. And then of course there's some other things that we're doing, a children's zone and a petting zoo and maybe a mini circus and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And so, is there plenty of parking there for people?
One would think the parking would be an issue. Parking was not an issue last year. We were pretty well attended. By our estimation, we were about 5,000 folks that attended.
Wow, for the first year.
For the first year, that's pretty good.
That's a
excellent.
Yeah, that's a pretty good amount of people. Parking just wasn't an issue. We were prepared for parking to be a problem. This year, I hope that we're going to be a lot larger. I hope, cross my fingers, to be able to develop a relationship with Lane County Transit so we can have buses of people being transported in, as well as work with potentially Valley River Centers so people can, with permission, park in Valley River and walk over the overpass.
And not get towed.
And not get towed. Did people do that last year? Oh yeah, they totally did that last year. I can't endorse that, but you know, wink, wink, nod, nod, that happened.
The Festival of Eugene, I'm sure that we can come up with something
I think so.
Mutually beneficial.
What are some of the bands that played last year?
Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed to say I'm not the music person. I'm the festival producer, and part of why our festival worked was I deferred to the wisdom of those people who know more than I do.
Right.
I don't know very much about music. I know about producing events. So we had some really great names. Some of the names I can think of, we had Heavy Chevy.
Heavy Chevy, a local awesome blues band, my personal favorite.
We had
Access Salvation.
Yeah, Dino and the B Flats was there.
Dino and the B Flats, Dino
Sonic
all
Bent, Unaltered.
An altered?
See, you do
Edward?
know some of the bands.
Just because I I
Well,
talk to them sometimes,
yeah.
but for the most part, I couldn't just say.
Code Red,
Code Red.
Edward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
Edward was there.
Color
that's right.
Outside the Lines.
Mm-hmm. We had some really great bands that were there. I didn't know who they
Haywire?
were. They were Haywire was there. I happen to know those guys. I like them a lot. But yeah, so I'm not a good person to answer that question.
And I had come on last year originally as the marketing and promotion for the bands, but I didn't stay on board just due to things that were going on in the last minute. And I'm happy to be back on this year with Krista.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you, due to her invitation as the social media promotions director for the Festival of Eugene.
Right.
Not focusing just on the music, although that's what Live Music Addict is all about. And happy to have this trilogy going on here with Unsigned Revolution and
Yeah,
Krista,
absolutely.
the festival. We can all be beneficial. So, what are the dates of the Festival of Eugene, Krista?
The festival dates are going to be August 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. That is a little bit of a change than we had last year. Last year we were a 1.5 day event. This year we're going for all 3 days. So
More stages, more
Yeah.
equipment, more bands,
yeah,
more days.
almost a double size the event.
I can't. I missed the last year's, but I have to go to this.
Well, that's because you suck. So.
Yeah.
Ah!
Call me out.
So we have 2 breweries. Is it too soon to say who?
It is too soon to say
Okay.
who. I have a pretty good idea who. Just as a courtesy, we're giving sort of first right of rescission. We're giving those people who were participants last year the opportunity to participate again. And then,
That's fair.
Yeah,
and if they
that's
choose
fair.
not to, that's okay. We already have some people that have contacted us and said we want in. So
And what about wineries and food vendors and
yeah, we will have a food court. We're going to have 2 food courts. Last year we had kind of a circular sort of event. We had a stage, and then there was food kind of around. And I think we're going to continue with that format again, but we're going to have it in more areas, so food vendors will be spread out. Wineries, we'll have 2 wineries, and last year something pretty remarkable happened as far as being able to have hard liquor in the city parks.
Oh, wow.
Most people didn't know about that.
Now I definitely have to go to that.
Without really naming any names, there was an individual who has a distillery, and rightfully so, he should be able to sell his product. And so he actually went, I think, before the commissioner and really pled his case of, hey, I have a business, you're prohibiting me from having my business,
Right.
and the amount of alcohol that I'm selling in my beverages is the equivalent of a glass of wine or a beer. And his permit was approved. So he
Yay,
was very much
stellar.
Yeah, it was very stellar. So most people didn't realize the significance of that, but now that the stage has been set for hard liquor to be sold in city parks,
They're gonna push more and
they're
more.
going to
on
have
it.
more. So
Then
that's
we have
kinda
more, drunk people.
Well, that's a good idea to hook things up with LTD.
cool. Yes, with LTD, I suppose. It's worth mentioning that just for the sake of talking about alcohol. Last year we were really fortunate. There was no DUIs that I'm aware of. There was no drunken incidents at our event.
Nobody
There
got
was
hurt.
nobody got hurt. There was just an incident-free event that was really fun for families to come and be safe and have a good time.
And I think that's the whole spirit of it.
It is.
Kind of like the original Woodstock. So how many, when will vendors and bands and performers be able to apply? And is
Oh.
that done on the Festival of Eugene
Good question.
website?
That's a really good question. Actually, I just talked to Limelight Productions, who's doing our website for us. A super fantastic group of people who've donated their website to us,
Marvelous.
which is really great. And so
Way
I
to
spoke
go.
with him today, and by the 10th, the website will be up and current, and applications for bands and vendors, food vendors, beer, all that stuff will be
The
available.
10th of this month.
10th of December, that's correct.
Wow.
And will this be where they apply interactive on a digital application?
Yes.
Do they have to print anything off, or
No,
will it be a digital
no.
signature?
It'll be a digital signature.
Yes.
Yes.
Last year it was such a pain, and many of you folks know, or maybe you don't, it was really difficult to get people to download a PDF. Some people have printers, some people don't have printers.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
I need to
yeah.
bypass that in 2014, approaching
Yeah.
15.
So this year you'll be able to have a drop-down menu and fill out the kind of vendor that you are, or if you're a band or musician, soloist, whatever. Fill out your application, and then it'll go to whatever committee member or committee chair.
And the same thing back with contracts.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. We like it. Up
Yeah.
with the times.
Yeah.
And so, you also have, Krista, you have Imagine Weddings and Events.
I do.
That is another event company that you run.
That's correct, yes.
And you have another event around music that you're planning, our first annual.
Yes, this is actually our second annual event. That is Burns Night Dinner Supper in Kaylee. For those folks who don't know what Burns Night is, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but
Oh, please do.
please do.
Oh yes, what is a Burns
Bore
Night?
us all.
Bore you to tears. Burns Night is basically a traditional Scottish celebration of a gentleman by the name of Rob Burns. And he was a bit of a ladies' man, so to speak, back in, I want to say 1600s, but I could be so off on that date, but like really, really long time ago. And so, you know, Scottish folks really celebrate him as a person of historical value. And so every year there's a traditional Scottish event where we have, as you've heard, haggis. You two have heard of haggis?
No, actually, what is haggis? You said a haggis dinner.
Haggis. It's exactly like it sounds. Haggis. It's really awful, but it's really good. You'd have to look it up. I don't know all the ingredients, but it's basically brains
Traditional
and
Scottish
blood.
food?
It's brains and blood and intestines shoved into the stomach of something and then boiled. It's like really awful, but
That does not sound very appetizing.
I mean,
to me, at least.
it is good. And if you like haggis, it's made from lamb, and we are trying to be very conscientious of using local. You know, local growers, local whatever. So
Marvelous,
the
love it.
Yeah. So the haggis comes from a gentleman who makes it down. It's in Oregon. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but we bring in the haggis, and then there's the piping in of the haggis, and everybody wears kilts. I would say it's a fairly semi-formal event, and there's the Kaylee part means a party or dancing. So we'll have a piping in of the haggis. There's past appetizers. There's a whiskey tasting. A lot of live Scottish music, so those will be brought on.
Whiskey tasting. I'm
Then you're in, right?
I'm in.
Right, is the distillery taking part in this as well, the local distillery?
Yes.
Awesome.
So it's a fun event. We're looking to fill about 150 seats.
Is there a venue already set for that, or is it still in the works?
It's still in the works. We're working on a venue. I have some place in mind, but part of what's really important about a venue for this particular event is that it has to have the look and feel of being old.
Right.
So you can't just have it in a community center or anything like that. It really needs to be like in a cathedral kind of feeling to really represent Scotland.
Oh, yes. And so
The
I
culture
understand.
and heritage and
Yeah,
whatnot.
exactly.
Excellent.
Cultural and heritage. So
And
there's only a couple of those here locally, and so we're negotiating contracts right now.
Excellent. And so the music will be provided by.
My husband will be playing. We are bringing in a surprise bagpiper. I can't say who it is now, but this is a nationally known bagpiper, and she'll be coming in to play and doing some solo stuff in what's called a pibroch. And pibroch is, again, traditional Scottish music. It's also known as the big music. So that means it would be the equivalent of, say, a Mozart or a Beethoven. It's a long piece of music. It's usually played solo, and it can be a single piece. It'll be about 20 minutes long.
Nice. And this is a fundraiser?
It is a fundraiser. It's for the Highland Spring Pipers Challenge. All the funds that are generated as a profit will go towards putting together a Highland gathering and a piping challenge.
And this is going to become hopefully an annual event?
I'm hoping so. Depends on how monies get raised. We're hoping to be able to put it together for the first time next year. My husband and I did have an HSPC for 3 years running on the East Coast, and we're going to bring it here this year.
Marvelous. And so this Burns character, this event will be held on his birthday.
It's actually celebrated on his death day.
Okay.
His death day.
On the passing.
The passing of his death. He actually died on January 25th, and I don't remember the year exactly, 16 something.
Back in the day.
Back in the olden days.
And he was a poet, correct?
He was a poet, he was a playwright, and he was a bit of a Renaissance man. I believe he had 16 children, birthed all from different women. But he was
Scottish rake.
Yeah, so he was a fellow student, and so it's
Adds to the color.
Yeah.
And so there will be a poetry reading contest?
There's no contest. Part of what Robbie Burns was known for was his poetry, like a William Shakespeare, so to speak.
Okay.
And so a Burns night goes in a very traditional kind of way. Certain things happen in a certain order. So we kick off the festivities with passing appetizers, traditional Scottish meal and food. So we'll have past appetizers, a cocktail hour that'll last for an hour. Then folks will get seated, and then we'll head into what's called piping into the haggis. So we'll have this big, beautiful haggis, which is actually, despite what it sounds like, it is a very well revered and respected food. And
Can't really hate it if you haven't tried it.
that's right. So don't be a hater. Don't be a hater.
I was hating on it for a while, and I was like,
You know, it could be good. I mean,
Never
you know,
know.
but like a
Gotta
million
try
Scots
it.
like it, maybe it's not all that bad. So the pipers come in with the haggis on this big, beautiful platter, so to speak, and the piping of the haggis comes in. It's very ceremonial, and then you have a couple of pipers, and you have someone with a sword guarding the haggis, and then it's actually stabbed with a scabbard, which is a traditional Scottish knife, and it's very ceremonious. It's a big stabbing of the haggis, and it squirts out everywhere. And then there's some poetry that goes with that, and then they pour whiskey over the top of it.
Not leaving anything out. I mean, that's
This is excellent.
poetry with, wait, you pour whiskey on top of the poetry?
No, you don't pour whiskey on the poet, actually.
Oh, the crowd just goes up on stage and they just start pouring liquor
Pouring
on
liquor on the guy doing the poetry. No.
Osmosis.
The whiskey goes onto the haggis after it's been
Okay.
stabbed.
Okay.
And then a small amount will be served to everyone. Most people don't eat haggis in large amounts. If you were to put it in a dessert, it's very rich. So like, you know,
Couple bites.
a quarter of a cup, like a small amount. And then we have neeps and tatties, which is sort of like what you would think potatoes would be. And then some herbed vegetables. And again, we're keeping very local, organic, sustainable.
See,
Nice.
this is the part I like. Community co-promotion.
Yeah.
Drawing the community in, some
Yeah.
history, some fun, some
Yeah.
tradition. Marvelous. I love it.
And supporting the local communities. That's, you know, local businesses. That's really important to, you know, the Festival of Eugene, to, you know, to your business.
Yes,
so everyone
definitely.
is sustainable, local, organic. That's kind of what it's all about.
That
and then also
definitely.
the Scottish thing. So,
Yes, definitely. And I'm Irish and Welsh, so
do you have a kilt?
No.
No. You said
I don't
like
think I
no.
would ever wear a kilt.
No,
I mean, nothing
no.
against it. I just
Don't
come
hate
on.
till you
You've
try
been
it.
to toga
Right?
parties,
Wait,
right?
get that breeze coming in. You know?
Where else can you wear a skirt in public going regimental? Huh?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go to that. And I'll get a
Unsigned
kilt just to wear
Revolution
to
kilts.
that.
Come on.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Put some band stickers on the kilt, you know.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. So, okay, back. We've got that event coming up. We've got the Festival of Eugene. And I heard some mention of street teams getting involved. People that want to help raise money for the Festival of Eugene, get
Yeah.
the community involved. Tell us about that a little bit, Krista.
So we're looking at a couple of different opportunities to do some fundraising. One of those will be street teams. Basically what street teams means is we'll have a variety of people that come forward from the community, say, hey, I like what you're doing, how can I help? And we kind of designate them into a street team. Street team means you go out wearing our shirt and you go to local businesses, and we're just asking local businesses to support us. We're not looking for a $500 contribution, although if you want to, you can.
Bring out your checkbooks and start writing them.
Start writing the checks. We're just looking for small contributions to, you know, help promote our event and let our event happen. Last year we did have a couple of large scale. You know, we had Frontier Airlines and Ninkasi. We had some
Yay,
big,
Frontier and Ninkasi.
we had some big promoters, and then we also had individuals from our community who literally just wrote us a check,
Nice.
$1,000.
Some support, yeah.
You know, so
And every bit is cumulative.
Every bit
And then it's
counts.
our festival, you know?
it is, I call it a festival for Eugene put on by the members of our community. It's a community-based event in every sense of the word.
And yes, bravo, bravo.
It's definitely community. So, you know, last year we were able to raise $14,000 over the course of 6 weeks. And for the most part, that was small amounts of money that were donated. We had GoFundMe, and some people donated $1.
Yeah.
You know, I say you can't get to $20 without $1.
That's
Right.
right. No,
So if you donate $1, thank you.
It all
If you can
adds.
donate 20, thank you. So as far as street teams go, we want people to go out to the community with their children wearing our tie-dye Festival of Eugene shirts and asking businesses, hey, can you donate $20 to support our event?
Well, if you think about it, if everybody donates $1,
Yes.
I mean,
That's
in the
quite
community,
a
could you
bit of
imagine
money.
how awesome it would be? If
Absolutely.
That was part of our mantra last year. If everyone in Eugene donated $1,
I mean,
we'd be funded.
That's right.
Who
Absolutely.
doesn't have $1? I'm broke as can be, and I got.
You got a buck in your couch.
Yeah, I got to pull up the
We-
couch cushions and get some change
Yeah.
going. And
Yeah.
make it happen.
Absolutely. Okay. Where was I going with this?
Fundraising.
Fundraising. Will there be another FundMe site, or is there already one in place at
There
this time?
is a GoFundMe site. It'll be the same website as last year.
Okay, and that's
Um,
on
that's
the
on-
Facebook page and the website?
It's on both. Yes. So if you wanted to donate no money, you can go to the Festival of Eugene Facebook page. You can also go to www.festivalofeugene.com, and you can also click on the GoFundMe.
Is there a way to share this app with anybody else that might have a page, such as Live Music Addict or local
Oh, sure.
businesses, where they can also network and
Yes.
have an app there on their pages too, and then we can have many more places for recognition.
Yeah, just add a button onto their website, and they click on it, and it'll take you there. Yeah.
I'll get on that as soon as the show is probably
Awesome.
over.
Awesome.
Just to make sure, I'm gonna call everybody too and make sure you donate at least $1.
$1.
Call to action!
You will hear from me.
So, we don't really know anything about the music yet that will be at the festival, but I understand that this year you would like to focus more on independent unsigned bands, original bands?
I have the interest and the intent behind the Festival of Eugene, like I said, is to support local talent. And local talent comes in a lot of different forms. So it could be the solo musician, it could be a band. My interest is, if you have an interest and you want to play, we want you to be there. Whether you're signed, you're unsigned, if you are some Joe that plays on the corner and nobody knows you, we have a spot for you.
I love that. I love that. And also street performers?
Street performers. I want to get many more street performers than we had last year.
Street
Yeah.
performers!
gotta-
We need you.
I got a story for that too. I was visiting my lawyer's office and there's this 15-year-old kid in the corner by some Sizzle Pizza place.
Sizzle
downtown.
Pie,
Or Sizzle Pie, yeah. And
next to Killer Burgers.
and he's like 15 years old with a violin, just playing
I
this
know who you're talking about.
beautiful music. I was crying, like I had tears, and I
Mm-hmm.
stayed for the whole thing, and it was the most amazing experience of my life. And some guy just he was
Playing.
there for 10 minutes, picked up his stuff and left, and
I love how Kesey Square has kind of come back since they opened up downtown and took the fountain out. You all aren't from here, but when I first came to Eugene in the 80s, 81, it was a fountain, a big fountain down there, and there were plays that were put on and Lulu smoothies. People could hang out and play hacky sack, bring their dog, ride their skateboard, and it got kind of Nazi-like for a while. And I see a resurgence now of people gathering, and some people complain. I think it gives flavor back to our community and a camaraderie that I love. And when I strolled through there last week, I hadn't even realized that there was another new business called Killer Burgers right next to Sizzle Pie.
Nice.
Downtown is vibrant again, and there were lots of people playing music on the corners, and I like that as well. And so we need a lot of different street performers. Anything goes? Do they have to pass any kind of a audition?
Is there an audition or a vetting process? No.
No.
That being said, I'm not doing all of the music selections. That's going through Mark Nash.
Mark Nash.
And Chris
From Code
Farrell
Red.
From Code Red.
And Chris from-
Farrell from Unaltered.
so they're
Unaltered.
gonna listen to all the people that
Exactly.
applied and be like, okay,
Exactly.
But then for
Yeah.
street vendors, people that do what? Like, are there fire dancers or?
Yes, absolutely. Last year we
Jugglers.
wanted to have more of those kinds of people, and this is probably not a good thing to say, but I'll say it. We were really boycotted last year by circus performers. They really took a hard line with our event because we're not paying anybody.
Oh yeah.
They really felt like we need to be paid. Our talent has a value. I couldn't agree with you more. I think your talent does have a value.
That's why we threw this on, to showcase your talent.
To showcase your
Right.
talent.
And who
Yeah.
says
And
you can have a tip jar or some merchandise?
Busking is totally encouraged, as well as passing the hat throughout the crowd. Selling your merchandise, absolutely.
Have a
That's-
table set up.
We had a couple of bands that were very, very creative, and I'm not going to mention who they are, but they too felt like, okay, we're coming to your event. It cost us money. We have our
Right.
equipment. We have our gas. We're coming from however, whoever. So what they did is they went out and got corporate sponsors of their own.
Oh,
And I had that. Hey,
You know?
anything
Yeah.
goes. That's all free
So-
advertising for their sponsors
Exactly.
as well.
So if they were able to go out
Co-promotion,
and
everybody.
get a couple people to donate $100 towards their cause, their band got paid.
Right.
wow.
And
so
then
it's
if
kind of
each
ingenious
band
that
could
way.
set up a table and have a representative
Yeah.
to sell their T-shirts, their CDs,
They could make
stickers.
money.
Absolutely. Let's do this, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about food vendors?
If I can interrupt you real quickly, I did want to talk about music real quick.
Okay,
It's
absolutely.
important for people to know that we're looking for 58 bands.
58.
58 bands.
That's a
Up from
It's-
what? 21
Oh.
last year?
four
no,
stages.
we had more than we have 4 stages.
Yes, you need to fill it.
We need to
3
fill them.
days.
58
So
bands.
we're
Why
looking
not make
for
it 60? Just push, a few more on that.
no, it's
Okay.
58.
All right, 58 is the
58.
final number.
They have time slots.
And they have time slots.
How long are the sets?
45-minute sets.
Wow.
15-minute changeover.
So you're gonna get plenty of time to showcase.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
Just oh hey, here's
Yeah.
your 30 seconds of fame. Let's see what
Yeah,
you
no,
got.
they
kind
get
of thing.
45 minutes to play, and that is the format that I understand. Again, I'm not in charge of music. I'm the producer for the festival, but I'm not a music person, so
Right.
that's really ultimately up to Mark and Chris. So for those
It's like a
bands,
demo, a live demo. And then if people see a band there that they like, hey, I suggest that every band that participates in the Festival of Eugene bring along something, a card that has their, mailing list or that has their gig events. People that like them are going to come to their shows,
Come
to
to their
paid
shows.
shows and such.
bring
Buy their
t-shirts,
CDs,
bring
buy their
CDs, bring
T-shirts.
bumper stickers.
Become a fan.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, 58 bands, there's a lot of bands that are going to be there, and the opportunity to get exposure is great. This is not a forum in which I say to people, if you're a band, come because you're going to get exposure. They will get exposure by de facto.
Right.
I want people to come and perform at the festival because they love their community.
Yeah, not to get something out of it.
Not to get something out of it.
Have
What
a
they're
good
getting out of
time.
it is having a good time, bringing their friends, bringing their family, and being able to support a community-based event. Because that's
Excellent.
what it's about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could
But
be-
inevitably
Yeah.
they'll gain fans.
They will gain fans, and I think that that's kind of where the boycott happened from those circus performer folks, is they really felt unappreciated. And I think universally they probably feel unappreciated.
Yeah.
That people say, what do you mean you can't juggle at my friend's birthday party?
Right.
Why? It's just juggling. Well, but that's their livelihood.
Everything
Right.
takes time and effort.
It takes time,
yeah.
it takes effort, it takes whatever to get there, and they have a talent, and that is worth something.
It's a good way to network and get yourself
Yeah.
another
So
booking.
I hope this year that those circus performers will be willing to come to our event and understand and embrace what we're really about. We're about community, for community, by the community.
Excellent. Love it.
Yeah.
And so back to the food vendors.
Yeah.
How many food vendors will we have?
That all depends on the size of the vendors themselves. Bait Steakhouse is going to be there again. They're a large vendor. Three Forks is going to be there again. They're going to be one of
Okay.
our beer garden vendors. They're very large. Paradise Shaved Ice was there last year, and she's wanted to come again, but she's small.
Right.
So it really depends on the size of the vendors that we get. What's really important is that in the spirit of what's the word I'm looking for? Celebrating or uplifting the vendors that are there. There's not going to be a reproduction or duplication of vendors. So once we have a shaved ice, there's not going to be another shaved ice.
Well, I think that's phenomenal.
So there's
no
one
competition
barbecue.
in that area. People are
Exactly.
like, this is my area.
I sell corn dogs, and so do I. Well, we're going to have one corn
You
dog.
don't want to have
Well, I like that.
10 corn dog stands
Right.
and one steak stand.
Just a bunch of wieners. We don't want it.
Yeah,
I love that though, because that's representative of several different genres of food.
Lots
Like,
of food, all different kinds of food, and no duplication. And the same goes with vendors. We're not going to be duplicating any vendors. So if you have a certain type of thing that you do, if you're a small business and we contract with a vendor, you can be rest assured you're going to be the only one there like that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, hey, I just wondered, has anybody thought about the idea of having, like when it comes to the bands, kind of like a car show, where it could have, the little ballots, people's choice, they could vote for their favorite bands?
Are you saying you want to volunteer to do that, Jody?
Sure, why not? How about,
That's a
how
good
people
idea.
go to
Yeah,
car
that-
shows
yeah.
and they walk around and they write in first, second, and third choice, and then it gets tallied up? That would be kind of fun to
You would need a
do.
prize though for the winners.
prize,
You
like
can't
a-
have
Well-
a competition and no prize.
Right.
Then
Well, I
again,
can
We
work
can
on
go
that
movie
too.
prize.
Then again, though, competitions always create kind
Oh
of.
no,
like this-
that's half the fun too. Just some recognition for who won, and who
Okay.
knows what I could pull together as Live Music Addict.
That's possible.
There's a
yeah.
lot of local studios. We'll just see.
We do have a local studio who did offer to have studio time for bands.
Right, studio
That-
time,
That's good.
on
It's
the
expensive.
air time, some T-shirt printing. Who knows what we could come up with?
We didn't have the time last year to be able to pursue that.
Right.
But there was a studio who came forward and said, I'd like to volunteer my studio if any of the bands would like some studio time.
See?
We just didn't have time. We had 6 weeks. But
6 weeks,
Yeah.
but you
Not a lot
pulled
of
it
time.
out
a
of
lot of
that.
time, yeah.
Go, Krista. So, we're pretty stoked to be here. Krista Albert and the Festival of Eugene will be coming on every first Wednesday of the month to keep us regularly updated with the unfolding of the festival plans.
Part of our committee will. I won't be every month.
You'll be
but-
bringing different
Right.
people will be coming on representative of the Festival of Eugene.
Right.
And Live Music Addict also will be bringing on other local producers and bands and venues and events as well. And what I like now, being that the Festival of Eugene is in Skinner's Butte Park, there's so much going on in the Whit now, as we've come to nickname the Whitaker neighborhood. It's really become the heartbeat of our community, I really think. Cornerstone Tailgates and Events last year put on the first annual Blues, Brews, and Barbecue event over on 2nd and Jackson. It went off without a hitch. It was a family-friendly event. And it had 3 breweries, a couple wineries, and 3 barbecues, People's Choice, 7 blues bands, a kids zone, and it was phenomenal. Even Elite Security did the security, and you would never know there was a security company there. They were so professional and cordial. I've never seen an event go off like that so smoothly the first year. Can't wait for that one again. We have Sam Bond's Garage doing so much, and the new skateboard park, which is national, will be having national events, and also allows our community to come in.
I'm really excited about that. Skateboarding and music goes hand in hand, so that's something I've always wanted to venture off on, was to have bands maybe perform at like a skateboard competition or.
Did
have
you
kind of like a
know
rally or
that
something.
just within the last few months, I stumbled across on the day of it, the Whitaker Council, to raise money for the Whitaker neighborhood and different things going on, did have 5 local, all original punk bands play at the skateboard park.
Nice.
And it was open for everybody to come and check out the skateboard park and use it and hear the bands. And I didn't even know at that time we had local punk bands. And one of them really stands out. They're called Wet Suck. And when I told my
Yeah,
former,
I've heard of Wet Sock.
they're phenomenal. And I told my former partner on LMA, she's backed off a little, very busy with her life, that JoJo. And she said, "Oh, Soggy Foot." I thought that was so funny.
Soggy foot.
So that was really cool. There's so much going on. And then we have Bawana Tea and Martricia that does Girls Rock every month of
Okay.
November that's going on. And we have the under 21 jams at the Cosmic Pizza, where people like Heavy Chevy, Darcy Lee and Brian Chevalier and other people from our community show up at Cosmic, and they bring all our youth that are interested in music and playing on a stage with the mentorship of our local musicians. That might be something cool to look into if there's room and time.
Oh, we had children perform last year.
Excellent.
Yeah, we did. We had a couple bands performed, I think, on Saturday and on Sunday.
That's excellent.
I'd
That's,
like to have
wow.
a children's stage where we have kids performing for the majority of that stage.
that's excellent. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Under 21. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
So we'll have to talk to Matricia, and then we had
I would love that.
a lot of the blues community has done blues in the school as well. My beloved friend J.C. Rico, who has unfortunately passed, one of the best bluesmen ever, got started with that. So people are trying to keep the ball rolling on that. Maybe we can look into that as well.
Oh, I would love that.
So-
I would love that. Children are the essence of our community. They are our future.
Yes,
So
they are.
they should be represented.
Especially, I mean, as a musician at a young age, I mean, there's so much potential you can
Yeah.
accomplish.
Exactly.
You don't want to start when you're 40. No, I'm going to pick up a guitar when I'm 40. You're not going to do anything with it.
But if you get started when you're 7, 8 years old, and broaden yourself out with different instruments, who knows what you can do.
Yeah, and then different people bring in, the equipment, and you get to play with like Brian Chevalier and Darcy Gribble and Matricia on the stage at Cosmic. And it's family friendly, and we need a lot more promo for that as well. I love the things like that that happens at Cosmic and throughout the town. And as well as we have a young lady named Terry Wilson I'm hoping to have on. Live Music Addict and Unsigned Revolution Present will be a regular show now every Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. right here. And hopefully Terry will come on the 17th. It's not confirmed yet. And Terry is trying to open up a new performing arts venue. And she's already the events planner and for Phoenix Productions. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
She's excited and wants to bring some of her bands.
Yeah,
And
she works with a lot of the bands. And
yeah, totally a
That's cool.
promoter. Looking forward to that, as well as her new venue that she's trying. They're currently looking for a property.
What's it? Do they have a name for it yet?
I am not sure. All this is to be figured out. We had to talk more. She has a day job too, so.
Right.
I know of a venue that would be really cool.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I know I can't wait to have one of my own and join up. So unfortunately, in the last month, we had two of our greatest local venues shut down. The Dexter Lake Club, which is a historic roadhouse out in Dexter, looking into trying to figure out how to turn that into a music co-op. We'll talk about that later. And Whiskey River. But at the same time,
Whiskey
River closed?
Whiskey River closed kind of
No
overnight.
way.
What?
And yes, it did. So hopefully we'll get someone to pick that up. That's such a perfect
My mind's
venue.
blown.
I'm like totally blown. What?
Committee of people also involved with Space Eugene.
Yeah, they did the Support the Scene festival last year.
Yeah.
Summer. A lot of bands, 26 bands. in
Right, I
2
meant
days.
to make it to that.
It was, it was
the-
amazing. The space, it's where people go to practice and they can get their own rooms to practice, but it also has this huge, just empty warehouse.
Hey, maybe
basically.
Unsigned Revolution should do some live remotes.
Yeah.
Tiki
Go up there,
laugh.
I can sneak in and knock on the door and just, see what they're up to with recording.
I know, I mean,
I'm here to pop in my head and see what you guys are doing.
well, I don't know about sneak attacks. They might throw stuff at us, that heavy metal community. We better be careful.
You gotta catch people off guard. You don't want them prepared, because,
I don't know, they're kind of hardcore, but could be fun. And so then, but with the closing of Whiskey River, which that's another thing we need
That's
to look
shocking.
into. Shocking, I know. I heard one day it was open and the next day it wasn't. Unfortunately, it had to do with the lease and somebody, the business was owned but not the property, and somebody
wow.
passed away. So
Oh.
hopefully we'll rectify that because that's a perfect venue. What a sound in there,
It's
a great
nice.
room. And so, but we had the former Harleys and Horses on 28th Street in Maine and Springfield has now been picked up and totally remodeled by a very savvy on the ball duo, Jared and Aaron Freeman. And I'm blown away. They have a great staff, they have great food, and what smart people. They did the ceiling and 2 feet down the wall in the room within the venue and sound, acoustic board.
Like baffling?
An actual acoustic soundboard, like for a recording studio. So the sound quality is phenomenal. I've never seen anyone do that.
They're not open.
They're open.
No, they're
As
open.
a matter of
Wow.
fact, week before last on a Friday night, Bulls on Parade,
Okay.
who plays all over the world, and headlined our Crust Fest last year.
Rage Against the Machine cover band? Is that
Well, yeah, they play all kinds of different music
Okay.
though, actually. And they're very original and fun. They changed into costumes. The sound was exquisite. They're just
They
so
should
much.
come to the festival.
Yes, I'm trying to get them to.
I like bands that have like
As well
puppets
as the
and
Cause
costumes
band.
and cool little props to
Then-
make fun.
Costumes, a little bit of craziness.
They
going
are.
on. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying. They
a
are.
pinata for people to hit or something.
They're
Yes.
so, and they are a smash hit. What a draw! And I recently saw another band at the Mohawk Tavern. Another one of my favorites, Rockin' the Hawk, over in Springfield off Mohawk by the Weimar there, right off the I-5.
I like that one too.
Yes, it's always fun. What a great job. Kudos to the Mohawk team. And I saw a band that I hadn't heard of also within the last month called the Cause Band. Wow, I've never seen a website or bios like theirs. And this band had stellar sound, light show, performance, photography. And when I arrived, I was blown away. It was like I went back into the 80s. There was 2 party buses outside. And when I walked in, I said, "Are you all filming a video?" I swear I walked onto a movie set. Everywhere I looked and turned, there was beautiful people. And if I turned again, there was even more beautiful people. It was really funny. The dance floor never emptied People just stayed, and they do the 80s like you've never heard. I mean, everyone loves 80s bands. Venues have 80s nights, and the Cause Band is another one I would love to see try to get into the festival, even though they are cover, because they're a draw.
I love 80s bands. I'm
Oh,
an
they're
80s band
so-
child, so.
Me too.
Yeah,
You weren't born, I'm not born yet, so.
Well, 85. So I was.
You were rocking 5-year-old.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
straight out of the womb, I was rocking.
Me too, and I was booking bands in Phoenix, and major, all original 80s bands in Phoenix.
I remember I was a kid and I would just like rock back and forth on the couch and they thought I had autism, but it was just.
Are you
I
serious?
had music in my
You
head.
liked music?
Yeah.
Music
That's
is
an
the
awesome
doctor, as the Doobie Brothers say. So hopefully I'm going to have Jared and Aaron Freeman from the Gridiron on soon, and then I would like to. Do you ever do remotes with bands from other countries here?
Yeah, on phone interviews, can
Oh,
one
cool.
push of a button, they're
Okay.
streamed live with
I know you work a lot with the heavy metal and hardcore.
all bands. I like all sorts of music. I'm not a big fan of hip hop, but I do like to, still
Mix it up.
recognize it's, it's music. Regardless if you
Yeah.
like it, someone else is gonna like
Yeah.
it. No such thing as bad music, just tastes and preferences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, which brings me back to a band that I found. I love social media. I have come across through my live music addict site on Reverb Nation and Twitter a band out of Melbourne, Australia called Toe Cutter. And-
Toe Cutter, yes.
Toe
I'm a big
Cutter!
fan of Toe Cutter.
And so I'm working with these guys. I'm definitely bringing them on board and contracting them within by spring. But they are 4 men from Melbourne, Australia. They are so good at local promo, but they need to be exposed more. And a couple of them are also bikers. I love how that goes together. They do a couple of versions of the Mad Max days, and they call themselves Viking metal, apocalyptic thrash. They're so fun. So I just wondered maybe sometime we could bring them on.
Yeah, of course. I'd
And-
love to talk to those guys.
And other than that, we have a gentleman that was on the scene last year who I've yet to meet in person. I was supposed to be getting involved with him, and I always thought a cool venue would be that empty building that used to be, again, you all don't have a long history in Lane County, but over by the Mohawk Tavern there on Centennial, or Martin Luther King and Mohawk, there is a huge empty,
Huge building.
They
Wells
used to
Fargo
be-
parking lot.
right, it used to be, Winco used to be called Waremart, and that was the old store. It's been shut down for
Waremart.
years.
Waremart.
It was Waremart, that it became Winco and employee owned. And of course they moved to their fancy new store. This building is huge. We could put an
Yeah.
indoor skate park. They usually have a haunted house. There is a local promoter on the scene and producer named Johnny Max. And he had this huge week-long Halloween festival going on to benefit volunteer
Oh.
firefighters and children. And unfortunately,
That was a real shame.
yes, so unfortunately there was an
Real
issue with the Springfield City Council and Mayor Christine Lundberg. And I won't get into the politics of that. It's all on Johnny Max's 541halloween.com.
Well, the way I
We
look
are
at it
working
is
on,
they're trying to ruin us having fun, is what they're doing.
yeah, well, I have a good friend on the Springfield City Council that had a meeting with Johnny, so that's being looked into, and hopefully next year we'll be back on track.
Right?
Oh,
Can't
it's-
win them all, too.
All right.
That building is so huge and so underutilized.
That's why I
That
would love
building
to
should
buy
be
that
a-
myself.
I used to live over by there. I still don't know what you guys are talking about.
Wells
Now,
Fargo
where-
parking lot. Do you know where Wells Fargo is on Mohawk?
Yes.
Wells
actually,
Fargo,
yes.
right behind Wells Fargo is this big ass building.
Oh, okay.
Big
yes,
gray building?
yes,
No,
yep,
yeah,
yep.
that's the
That
one.
huge
They
building
should-
is
oh
big.
my God, yes, that would
Yeah.
be perfect.
And he
That would
was
be an
doing the
amazing
festival.
venue.
He was having laser light paintball with live bands. Several of the bands that were in the Festival of Eugene were slated to play. A
The fans
costume
start
party.
shooting the band with their paintball
Yes,
thing.
and
That'd be a cool
costume
paintball
party
party.
and pumpkins and all these events for a week with live music.
Yeah, I spoke with him. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And-
It's a shame.
And so, well, we're not done though. And he had all the cherries, and the carpet got pulled out from under him 3 days before launch. So we're working on rectifying that. Sometimes it really helps to have people with mass involvement in local city councils. Enough said.
Yeah.
So, and Greg and Shannon Stewart, they ran the Dexter Lake Club for 3 years. It was phenomenal. Several of the blues people out there on the Sunday night jams for the final one were very sad to see that close. So there's some ideas being thrown around in the blues community and with myself and a few other people trying to see about writing a grant and turn that into a musicians collective and use it.
Something. We're losing so many venues left and right.
Well, we're going to turn them around into community co-ops through music as a platform. Watch. We'll do all kinds of
It's
things.
a good idea. You should just run with it. And see where it
And
takes you.
that's what's going on with that. So, oh, shout out. There's 2 spots left I came across today while cruising the Craigslist musicians. On Craigslist, they have a place just for musicians to post about whatever's going on. Somebody needs a musician in a band, equipment, a studio for rent. And there is Alhambra Theater and Portland, and another, there's a phone number, 828-490-1383. They're doing a festival type event. One of them will be held on the 17th of December and one on the 20th. And they're looking for all kinds of different genres of bands. 2 spots left. Call 828-490-1383 to find out about booking. Just thought I'd shout that out there.
Is that a paid gig or?
I am not sure of the details. It's not my event. I just like to do co-promoting.
Got it.
So I posted it on there, and I haven't had too much time around all the other things going on today. But I'll follow back up on that tomorrow on Live Music Addict.
Covered
Thank
it.
you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Yeah, of course. I will be at everything that you seem like a huge entrepreneur. You're just doing things left and right, both of you, and just on the ball.
Busy girls.
Yeah, just making stuff
It's all
happen.
coming together.
Well, it's great because we need people like that. That just hey, I
Well,
have
and
this
like
idea.
Terry Wilson and Johnny Max.
All of them.
Oh, and the Boreal. I'm still trying to learn more about the Boreal
It's a
also.
good venue too. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's a lot going on our scene, and we need to get Goodfellas going, Whiskey River back up on track. 2 wonderful venues.
If I had the money, I've long wanted to. open a
Well,
venue.
Yeah.
If I had the money.
Oh, we're going to do some grant writing and just connect some things. Watch it.
I tend to look at Whiskey River like, because I'm a wedding planner.
Ah, it's a perfect place.
I go, ooh, that's a wedding venue.
It
there."
is.
Yeah, just
It
because of
is.
the setup of the place, ceremony on
Community
one
co-op.
side, reception on the other. Yes.
Right, yeah.
Catering,
Yeah,
dancing, great sound
Yeah.
system capabilities, parking,
Yeah.
great
That's a great
location.
location.
Hey,
But-
imagine.
I know.
Imagine.
It all takes money, though, girl. It all takes money.
That's what grant
Well, if
writing's
you do,
for.
I'll be around the corner, sneaking in to eat some cake from time to
Oh,
time. Oh, I'm
Unsigned
here with
Revolution.
Uncle Bob's
He's my
cousin
uncle.
side of the family. Yeah.
Uncle Bob's cousin from Detroit.
Yeah, there you go. You haven't seen him in years or know who I am, but I'm gonna eat your cake. Krista
And
Albert
Krista
and
Crystal.
Jody from Live Music Addict, thank you again for coming on the show. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you for